Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Madhurima Bhatia, and I'm from Ipsos, which is a global market research company. The topic for today is new paradigms in PR metrics. The importance of PR cannot be overemphasized. It builds reputations. It gives you visibility for the great work the company does. It makes you engage with your stakeholders. And, these days companies have their goals predefined in the beginning of the year. And PR professionals and custodians, they are entrusted with the task to ensure that we achieve those goals. So I come from an industry which is a B2B industry. And like for me, the metrics that I use for measuring the efficacy of the work that I do is very different from my other panelists. Like on my left is Abhi, then I have Rajiv, then I have Himanshu, then I have, one second. I have Natasha, then I have Rohit, then I have Sunita, and then I have Udita. Now we are all from very, very diverse industries. Like I come from a B2B, so the metrics that I use, like I'll look at media mentions, I will look at, social media amplification, and also some of the work that I do, my job will be to get all the traffic to my website so that our clients and our prospective clients know what kind of work Ipsos does and they can, work with us. So, so for me, I would look at, some of these, matrices. But what do each of these, heads of different organizations, PR heads of organizations, how do they measure? That will be very interesting for you to know. And each one has a very different story to tell. So I will start with Abhi. He works with Amazon, and he will share with you what he does. To measure the efficacy and effectiveness of the work in public relations. Over to you, Abhi.
Thank you so much, and glad to be a part of this panel. Good afternoon, everyone. I think there are a couple of things about Amazon which is peculiar, not just in the way we operate, but in the way we measure as well. Mm-hmm. You said you come from B2B. I cannot define whether Amazon is B2C or B2B. I think we have B2B businesses, we have B2C businesses, we have businesses that translate and transcend from these two kind of domains as well. Hence, from a PR landscape, it becomes extremely complex to have kind of a one-size-fits-all for measurement. Mm-hmm. However, we are obsessed with inputs. Okay. We are not obsessed with outputs. So in my team and across Amazon, we will not be obsessed about X number of clips, X number of impressions, X reach, all the parameters that we use for PR measurement, both on social and traditional. But we are very, very obsessed around what are the input mechanisms we have, because we believe that if the inputs are right, mm-hmm. the outputs will find a way. Okay. So that's a strong philosophy that we work with. One quick, I know we have a lot of people here, so I will... Mm-hmm.
Waiting to tell their stories.
I will wrap that up in last one point. We have moved from EAVs, which is absolutely a default, was a default earlier, and it doesn't make any sense today, from EAVs to what we measure today with SOVs. Mm-hmm. At Amazon, we are moving away from SOVs. Okay. We believe that share
I think for the benefit of our audience, we'll elaborate on what these acronyms...
SOV stands for share of voice. So we are moving away from share of voice, and we are experimenting in the last couple of years. So we have moved away from SOV to something called SOI, which is share of influence. Right. Because we believe that voice share is probably important, but not impactful. But share of influence is what we measure on a day-to-day basis. Thanks.
Excellent. Very nice story to tell. So over to Rajiv. And Rajiv comes from a very regulated environment. That's what he was sharing with me. And so do tell us your story.
Yeah, so as I said, I come from within the healthcare sector, a very regulated industry, which is the implants industry, where we're actually governed by the Drugs and the Cosmetic Act, this actually is something which keeps us away from almost large measurements. So when we plan a communication activity, or for us, I wouldn't say it's a communication activity because largely our KOLs are doctors, our KOLs are hospitals, and our KOLs is the government of India also.
Yes.
Whether it is the Ayushman Bharat, setup we're looking at, or the CGHS, or the other, healthcare schemes which are there. So there, one thing that we define as a communication policy is an acronym that we use is as SMART, S-M-A-R-T.
Okay.
Everyone looks at it. And what we call it is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. The last time-bound is what we start because, doctors, when you go to them, and for us it's cardiologists, we're into stents, we're into heart walls, we're into occluders and all that. So for us, doctors can give us maximum of a 10 to 15 minute attention, and after that it's poof, gone.
Right.
So our strategy becomes very different. The methodologies to gauge what we've achieved is very different. It's more sales that would be relevant to us in possibly, a tier 2 city or a tier 3 city now compared to what we've already won a class A city or a tier 1 city. So, our gauging for a particular methodology is completely in a way where our KOL engages with us.
So they will mostly look at ROI.
Yeah.
Which
we
is,
will 100% look
yeah.
at ROI.
Okay.
Number of stents implants, number of life saved, number of patient efficacy. And so patient becomes at the top if you look at it, because for us, if we talk about a particular medical instrument, we do not want to be seen as influencers.
Right.
It's all about, the nice story which comes out. Like a couple of days back, the Times came out with a story where a 6-month-old baby came from Afghanistan, had a congenial heart hole, which is, regular heart holes that they have, and with a new technology, because this heart hole was in between the 2 chambers.
Okay.
So the heart has 4 chambers. It was in between 2 chambers. The way the operation was done, the way the implant was actually successfully delivered, is a story metrics for us.
So
Yeah.
It's interesting. And plus
at the end of the
Excellent.
day. So very relevant for us, and therefore social media is a very important tool. And we use tools like Power BI dashboards, which are fed into with multiple AI tools.
Yes.
That gives us very clearly a picture of are we being spoken about positively or negatively,
Yeah.
and in different topics.
So, very nice views. So, like Natasha said, suddenly, we live in we live in great times when we have both earned media and owned media. Owned media, gives us the platform to say our stories, to amplify our content, to amplify the good work that we're doing, for instance. So now I'm going to go to Rohit. He works with Geo, and he has a different story to tell, definitely.
Yeah, thanks, and thanks for calling me here. So basically, Geo was born as a digital-first company. So, whatever we did, digital was at the top of our mind. So when we were starting the PR way back in 2016, the first thing we did was get an ORM tool. And that ORM tool was then acquired and internally now being used for so many years. And it has undergone many changes with the advent of technologies all over. And that is what gives us the first set of feedbacks.
Right.
And which you say, what is the tonality, what is the sentiment
Yes.
analysis, etc. And all that is coming from there. And that is where you have a set of reactions also built
Yeah.
in as to how do we react. But much earlier in our lives, we realized that, you can't just depend on online and social media. You also have to move to the conventional of print and television.
Yes.
Because some of our products were actually for the bottom of the pyramid. How do you reach the bottom of the pyramid? Now, for example, one of our product called Jio Bharat, it's a phone which is like 600, 700 bucks. And that is meant for a person, say, like a Manrega worker, okay? He's a bottom of the pyramid. He only needs a, not a touch phone, but a, phone which is a basic feature phone. How do we communicate with that, and how do we get to know that whether our communication is reaching and all that? That was a different challenge. The second challenge we initially came across was that, you have to make PR relevant. And we have been talking in seminars after seminar, how do you bring PR to the table? Now, with that in mind, we said, okay, it's not the conventional measurement which is going to work for us. You have
Right.
to work with a set of measurement tools by which not only the impact is measured, that impact is converted into a measurable matrices for sales, for management, and for your finance. How the sales is looking at what PR is doing. And what over a period of time we have been able to do, the dependence of Jio on PR is very high compared to advertising. So you won't see Jio's advertising except for during IPL because we sponsor all the 8 teams.
Yes.
Other than that, in the year you won't find. But we are very heavy on PR. I mean, Viziki, which is one of the measurement, they put out that in a year we have something like 96% news, coverage, matrix, and outreach is roughly 74 billion. Next to
Right.
us is only SBI, which is at 46. Now, that's for Reliance Industries. Jio is an integral part of that. So you can see the kind of volume we are getting. And if I talk of my competition, they are much below. So it was a very conscious call to build matrices which can do not only the measurement, it also looks at the performance measurement of your team. Because unless you are able to do that, how do you tweak the output which is coming out of them? It is also converted into how the management reporting is being done. You just can't go with a number that this is my share of
This
voice.
is my share
The
of voice.
person sitting out there is where is
Yeah.
the number of sales which is coming from
Yeah.
this geography. And
The
that is,
impact that is what is
they
being
are
done, yeah.
pretty much fixated. That is one of the disconnect which I find in PR, and because having run a agency, in agency we are trying to justify this was the brief, this is what I have delivered based on the matrices. In internal comms or as the in-house comms, we are trying to justify this is my job. But have you converted your matrices to justify to your management that this is your goal, this is the purpose for the company, and this is the matrix which I am giving you, which clearly says that this is my contribution to that.
Exactly.
And that is what we have over a period of time developed internally through various tools. We have softwares for that, and that is what we are sort of doing, it's a weekly sort of a presentation which is done for the internal team, converted, matrices are taken out and then submitted to the management that this is what happened last week. So it's a very systematic, well-oiled machinery which has now been working, and the kind of output we get is reflected by the numbers Viziki or Brand Finance puts out.
So I can really understand your predicament. On one end, you have to cater to a different audience, and on the other hand, you have to cater to a very premium audience. And then at the same time, you have to also justify to management how you achieved the goals set out for the year and what was your contribution in achieving it. So great work happening there. And yeah, you're one of the most visible companies, we must say that. So I'm now going to ask Sunita, who works with Mars Wrigley's, to tell us her story, how she measures PR, and that will be interesting for all of us to know.
Yeah. So thank you, and it's a wonderful opportunity to talk about what we do and how we measure PR. So I would say, how do we measure reputation? And Mars is, I would say, in many ways obsessed with how we are perceived by our stakeholders, by our shareholders, because we are not a listed company, but we are heavily invested in the market. We are heavily invested in many markets that we work in. We are obsessed with how we recruit our consumers, and we firmly believe that reputation is not just getting a few stories in the media, but across the value chain, how are our shareholders or our stakeholders perceiving us? And it also helps us in recruiting talent, etc.
Yeah.
And how do we, just to give you a perspective, we are guided by something called the compass. It's Mars, the family which came up with this concept of compass, which is really a North Star. And every leader in the organization is actually measured against deliverable of each of the quadrant in the compass. We have 4 quadrants there. And top half is all about financial performance. The second half is all about reputation, and reputation is measured against how as I said, your stakeholders perceive you, which is the trusted partners, and second is what are you doing about how are you contributing to society. And we have number of metrics around how do we measure each of these particular 2 pillars, and it gives us a good visibility of how our stakeholders are thinking, feeling, and what are they doing about it? Are they advocating for us? Are they still at a very awareness and familiarity stage, or have they moved to advocating us, sharing our posts, etc.? Or how are they talking about our products, chocolates particularly, and gums and mints and pet food that we have? So a lot of this quality of conversations gets reflected in that data, and that is super important, and we present it monthly to the board. And everybody is accountable. Every leader in the organization is accountable for that. So I would say that metrics which show the sentiment of the organization, which show how shareholders and stakeholders are thinking and feeling about us, is very important for us.
So like you measure on a monthly basis. So have you ever seen like some very, very drastic, what do you say, troughs, or what do you call that?
We have seen, and while we realize that we cannot control all the external dynamics, but it does give us a lot of visibility and insights into what interventions we can put in to make course corrections, or what can we double down on to improve the scores.
Excellent. So that is why, it's very important to measure, to see how you're doing on different, matrices. So I'm now going to ask, the last person on the panel, which is last but not the least. It's Udita Dutta, and she works with Artsmith, and she's going to share with you some of the initiatives she takes to see the efficacy of her work. How does she measure it? And it will be nice to know hers. These are all case studies, Look at them as case studies, those who are students. So you come to know what each sector is doing, to build their reputation, and how do they measure it, whether they're going in the right direction or not. So over to you, Udita.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah.
And it is great knowing each of your metrics and paradigms. But so I belong to the sports and esports industry, which itself is very happening industry. But when you come to the aspect of matrix and measuring, I think we are still a work in progress. Because for us, when it comes to live sports, it's all about engagement.
Right.
So share of voice is something we've been pushing all our clients to move away from.
Yeah.
Because that's something, for us, one size definitely doesn't fit all. So biggest thing that for us is building credibility for multiple sports. Each has its own requirements. I'll give an example, like, when Kho League came, I mean, nobody had heard. I had played in my childhood Kho, and we were coming to Kho League.
Right.
And I was like, how am I going to sell this, So the league owner, which was Mr. Amit Barman, he said, look, I am very bullish that this is one sport that India can do, and I'm thinking, how are we going to do this? So my whole 1 year as an agency, we were actually educating journalists to even write a Kho report. Now this cannot be measured. I mean, no one else can measure it, but this is a very, very important metrics.
Right.
So for sports, I think education is important, credibility is important, engagement, understanding is important, and we prefer, if it is live sport, including IPL. When I say IPL, I don't mention the brands, but when it's the teams, they do not want to pay. So it's all earned and organic.
Yeah.
So paid is not something that's there in the DNA of live sports.
Yeah.
And that's why engagement is super critical. I was listening to a few of the panelists who said about input. Input is very important for us as in sports. What you give, because we are always fighting for that one crisis to break any moment. So that is very, very critical for us. So these are few aspects in our industry that we measure, and based on that our matrix comes out.
Yeah.
Esports, still a baby walk is happening. And I was yesterday only talking to one of my clients, and I was telling him, I think it's time we need to move out from all the EY reports and XYZ reports and start talking. I mean, we manage gamers. So how will an EY know what gamers really are doing here? A gamer will know what gamer is doing in India.
Right.
So if you say that we have, billions of gamers, we don't. I mean, esports and gaming are very, very different. People club Ludo and Call of Duty and say, okay, we have this million gamers. Now brand comes to esports and says, I don't see that here. So where did it go? So I think, the matrix are a little not conceived in the right manner in our part of the industry, and which is what, so education is a big space that we are still working to educate our
So
stakeholders.
probably it's very nascent right now, and so the build up to first education. So I think for any new thing to first enter the market, the maximum time goes in educating, and then it comes to the next. Once you have the critical mass, that's when then it's established, and then you go to the next level. What do you say? Do you agree with this, Udita?
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, education is a constant process.
Absolutely.
And trust me, in our part of the world where federations are there, they don't even look into social media. So that's another story, So I'll give you a small example. We won the Thomas Uber Cup, which was in 40 years for the first time ever. And so we managed the badminton social media, and everybody was talking about it. We didn't have crowd in Thailand where they were going to play. So on social media, we started a campaign that go and cheer your people in Thailand. People went and did everything.
Wow.
Our guys were sitting and thinking, oh, did we do all of this? Because I'm not on social media. Nobody's on social media.
Amazing.
Part of it. So that's a constant challenge, and that's how it is.
Yeah, so I think interesting. So you got to, know about different industries and their challenges and how they show to top management, how they are really delivering the goods. But now, with AI coming in, how many of us are actually using AI to measure the effectiveness of the work that we do? And I'm going to ask who's the heaviest user of AI, I want to know. So they can go first. So who goes first? Come on, let's hear your story.
I can go first on this. Like we have been using AI for now 4 years.
Okay.
Not 4 months. and there's a lot of learnings that we've gotten, and I can put this on record that all of us here, our jobs will be absolutely redundant.
What about AI and HI then? We're talking about both together.
If we don't upskill.
If we don't upskill.
If we don't upskill, a lot of predictive analysis is humanly not possible.
Yeah.
As there is, human mind also goes through data paralysis.
Yeah.
AI doesn't. A lot of content, there are two big C's that we use in our comms, right? Content and channel.
Yeah.
AI is excellent on content. I don't need anybody today to actually write a better content.
Really?
AI is 99.9% accurate.
Excellent. Yeah.
And now we have, I'm just very proud that we have invested so much that across global Amazon, we are using AI only for comms.
Okay.
Only for comms, not just for the industry. Of course, we are using that, but we are using for comms, which gives us better output, faster turnaround time, more options, better viability. And then to the next C is the channels. So AI also recognizes what content to use in which channel at what point in time to get what relevance and impact.
Right.
I have to admit that AI cannot take over human decision making.
Right.
And the decision will always lie at the hands of a human. But if you are not, if you are ignorant to the quantity and the quality of inputs that is coming in, your decision will not be great.
Right.
So that's why the upskilling is very important. So we are using it, and we are seeing it even on a day-to-day basis. Like we all use Google Trends and Google Analytics.
Yeah.
We all use Hootsuite, and we all use Meta and all of that. I was doing a quick search as you all were discussing, and if you do a quick search on Mars, Shell, Geo, Pristyn, Amazon, just look at the Google Trends for and the volume of searches in the last 12 months. Everybody will get to know. So there is nothing to hide here.
Absolutely.
What we are doing is pretty much out there in the open. It just needs a fine mind to just look at and connect these dots. And those dots are actually not generated by humans anymore.
Yeah. Interesting. So I want to hear Rohit's story.
Yeah. So we also started AI 4 years back, but that was conventional AI.
Okay.
So when all of us were locked in our houses, the first project we did as a comms team was the rights issue of Reliance Industries. And the first thing which I did as a project of mine, and that was a learning curve for me to understand what is conventional AI and then transformative AI. So what we did was that the shareholders were to be informed what is the offer and how it has to be done. And that was the time when we launched something called a chatbot. And we ensured that the shareholders are coming on the chatbot and they are interacting, and whatever questions are there, that is being answered. And the percentage of, there is a technical term called bot break. So bot break comes down to less than 3-5%. And that was my first project. And it has a fantastic analytics, because end of the day, you know who came, for how long, which question they were, and what is the kind of interaction which is happening. And since then, we have been using the chatbots. And increasingly till now, and we are now, we have from last year integrated, from this year onwards, it will have the transformative GPT also built into that. That was the first big AI project we did.
Yeah.
Since then, we have been using it. Now, sentiment analysis is also being done through a software internally.
Yes.
Now, nobody has to physically sit and all that. There is a set of data set has been fed in. And if you look at the, reports, it will go through the reports, and 99% of the time it is correct in the output.
Yeah.
That's the second part. Internal communication, when GPT came, we actually, so as a comms team, I would say we are pretty much innovative. As a comms team, we have used ChatGPT, we have used, virtual VR, AR, etc. And also Metaverse. Metaverse is one of the latest thing which we have launched. All our AR's annual reports are now on Metaverse. So every aspect of AI is what we use, including for measurement. Now, one of the most unmeasured thing is what you send out on WhatsApp.
Right.
That is something now, again, we are now working on. That if it is a WhatsApp being sent out, how do you actually look at? So that is something in progress now.
Yeah.
In few couple of by next month we'll be rolling it
Yes.
out.
I can share some insights on that.
Yeah, and now it is not
Close
only
to
about what is
competition.
being sent out, how much is the engagement level, for how long the person is there, whether the person wants to receive that kind of communication. So it's a two-way channel and measurement which has now been built on WhatsApp.
And any call to action, right?
And any call to action. Now,
Yeah.
these are the things which AI can do for you.
Right.
AI is a very good tool, and it's my belief that technology is always subservient to human. Technology is
Absolutely.
never above human, and that is where we make mistake that AI, it's going to take my job. No.
No way.
AI
Yeah.
is only going to enable you. You
Enable
have to
you, yeah.
learn how to do the prompt engineering. That's the next
Yeah.
thing which all PRs should learn.
Yeah,
What
so
is a
prompt engineering, yeah.
And that is where you are going to use AI. So AI is a fantastic tool for PR, and we have been using it for last 4 years. At least I have used it, and I know how much of benefit we have been getting. Apart from
Right.
the Grammarly kind of a thing, which
Yeah,
corrects you,
which is
or
also there.
Chat GPT. Be careful of the kind of
Yeah.
content it puts out. But
Now, I just want to add one point, and I fully agree with
Yeah.
him that, it goes back to the earlier point of input mechanism. If the messaging is clear and your narrative is clear in your head,
Right.
your prompt engineering happens.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, it will not happen.
Yeah,
All the
otherwise
data and
you
results
won't-
that you'll throw
Yeah.
will be useless. So,
It will be useless.
So we also used a similar thing, and what he ended up with is what we started
Okay,
for
yeah.
when we started using AI,
Right.
and we thought that we'll become smart, as we said, is to start with the WhatsApp analysis.
Okay.
Because with doctors, our philosophy has been, or with clinicians basically, our philosophy
Right.
has been DOB. It's not date of birth. It's direct, open, and brief.
Okay.
So, when doctors need to use or, talk about a particular product, the amount they spend
Yeah.
on WhatsApp, if they're able to also derive and make those succulent messages for WhatsApp users, is what we started off with. And then we looked at the measurement analytics that AI gave us or Meta gave us, is
Yeah.
on, safety, efficacy, on demographic disease
Right,
profiling,
right.
on where we're going in terms of tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities. And you won't believe at that point of time, immediately post, the pandemic, the maximum reach that we had, carved out ourselves was in tier 2, tier 3 cities, or even rural areas.
Excellent. Yeah.
So, AI gave us those demographic profilings that we worked upon. So I think it's an
Yeah.
important tool to actually use while we are using not only it for communication,
Right.
but also for policy making.
So I'll just add to this, for me, like I come from a B2B brand, Ipsos, which is a global market research company. We have an internal sandbox and it's called Ipsos Facto. And that AI tool, I'm so kicked about it. I'm waiting to use it. I've not had the time to use it. But you know what that tool is going to do for me? It's going to read I have to read so many global reports and then write about it. It's going to read the reports for me and it's going to give me the crux of what is emerging, say for India as a market. It's going to do all the media monitoring for me. I just have to put one press release, this topic. It will, trawl through all the data because it's that internal sandbox. And it will give me all my media mentions. So I am so kicked. I'm just going to use that now. And so because it's an internal tool that Ipsos is giving me access to. So, it's very interesting. AI is your very, very important assistant. I don't need a junior, Now AI is my junior. It's going to do all the work for me. So anything else interesting? Udita, how about you, from your standpoint? How are you using AI? Are you using AI?
We do. I mean, for a change, we do. I mean,
Okay.
the industry that we are. For us, AI, actually it started off like this, that AI was used for sports intelligence, for an athlete intelligence.
Okay.
That's where it started off. Whether this athlete is going to be injured in 6 months, or that's how it started off. So what we took a learning was, so when Rio Olympic happened, we were bullish that we're going to get so many medals and nothing
Yeah.
came. So learnings happened from there. So when Tokyo was going to take place, Tokyo Olympics, so we actually took help of this intelligence that was there to understand maybe a year before which are the athletes who are going to peak by the time, we actually go to Tokyo.
Yeah.
So in PR, so we started pushing when everybody thought X is like Lovelina Borgo. No one thought she can get a medal.
Right.
But we knew it because we had that intelligence.
Intelligence,
that
yeah.
This girl is the only one. And the most popular guy, we knew he will not get a medal. So
Right.
we underplayed them. So that's kind of a...
That's a very
way
good
that-
strategy you adopted, right? To
Yes,
get
so it's more on the
maximize
strategic level to use the information.
metal tally, metal and medal.
We should use AI to have better sporting bodies, have on social media presence.
Right.
Absolutely, I concur with you.
So anybody else who has a nice story to tell, otherwise we'll wrap up the session. You've understood, how it's very, very important to measure, all the work that you do, because otherwise it's like shooting in the dark. You just do your work and you don't see how you have, done on it. Then, it's a waste of time, it's a waste of energy. Like it used to happen in the past, when people used to just look at media, how much word of advertising space we have got in media, and then, PR companies would give that press monitor and say, hey, we got you XYZ amount worth of PR coverage. We've come a long way from that traditional method of PR, measurement. So anybody else wants to add? How about you? Sunita, you want to add?
So couple of things. I mean, one is not to be 100% data driven, but definitely have to be data informed.
Absolutely.
And I also believe that PR is art and science. It's relationship based, but don't be ignorant to the trends that you can spot if you're using AI, which gives you very good insights into that. Right?
Absolutely.
And the other part is, it's both top-driven and bottom-up for us. Top-driven, while the leadership says that, look, everybody has to adopt technology, digital-first mindset, etc. But bottoms-up, what are we doing about building capability? How are we making sure that the analytics or analysis that we are doing out of AI tools may not be 100% accurate, but at least there is integrity in those. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of work still needs to be done on that, and a lot of investments have to go into not just adoption of AI. We are experimenting with
And
a lot
the guardrails.
ourselves.
There are guardrails to be really taken into.
But at the same time, invest on capabilities of people who need to use. And I always say that AI for PR may not be the same for AI in R&D or product development.
Absolutely.
Hence, it has to be customized and built in a way
Yes.
that works for us.
Interesting. So that's a wrap. Any questions from the audience? From our side, we are almost done.
Any question over here? We have space for one question. Anybody wants to ask anything? I don't see
And
any
let us
hands
know
being
which panelist you would like to pose the
Yes, of
question
course.
to. Yeah.
But does anybody have any question over?
So I see one hand up there.
Can I please have the mic? Just pass me a mic, please. Hand mic, hand mic. Hand mic.
Let us know which panelist.
Hi, my name is Hari, and I come from R&D Express. So my question is to Abhi. So he spoke about the share of influence, right, over SOV and AV. So how do you measure SOI? That's a new term, though.
Long answer after the session. But to give a short kind of a reply, if you add the quality of exposure with the share of voice, and not just map with competition, but also what you're getting back from your customers, derives the share of influence.
I think we'll speak after this.
Explain later, yes.
Thank you.
He's not telling all the details. He doesn't want competition or someone else to, adopt it. So we understand, but definitely it delivers the goods for him, definitely. So thank you everyone for being such a great audience. And I had a lovely time interacting with all these heads who represent such huge brands, and they all are doing such great work to elevate the status of their companies. Thank you very much, everyone. Yeah, bye-bye.
Gentlemen, a huge round of applause, please, for this very wonderful panel.